In this video, I'm going to explain how to do the Java programming activity on arrays. So what I'm thinking we can do for this simple activity is create a program that allows, kind of like a supervisor or boss, enter the number of hours each of their employees worked. And then we'll just display those back, and then maybe even take it to a level where we show a total. So we've already learned a little bit about arrays. So here I have using scanner, because I'm going to get input from a user, because this, again, the intention of this program would be where like a supervisor would be entering the number of hours each employee worked. So we have a total number of employees would be, actually I'm sorry, we have the hours for the employee, and we don't know how many hours they work. So this number 3 needs to be replaced with how many employees they have. So what we're going to do is I'm going to create a constant, and in Java, we probably should already know this, that a constant is created with the reserved word of final. So anytime you create a constant, it's a good best practice to use all capital letters. So we're going to say we have 3 employees. So now that I have this constant, this is an integer, which is, you must have an integer for the size of an array. So now I can say that I'm going to get the number of hours for 3 employees. So this is going to be an integer that stores, it's going to be an integer collection. It stores the number of hours of each one of my employees. And I've already created my scanner, and then here's my array for the number of employees. So this is intended to store, to hold employee hours. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to ask the user, sorry about this, I want to ask the user, I want to prompt the user a question, and I want to say something like, instead of integer, we'll say enter, so I'm kind of stealing from the previous example to save some typing time. Enter the hours, hours worked by the employee. Now what I can do is I can make this look a little bit better. I can kind of enhance this, make it look a little bit prettier, and say the hours worked by the total number of employees they have, because we could change that if we wanted. So, and then what I want to do is I want to continue to get the employees' hours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say enter the hours worked by employee number 1. And then, of course, what I'm going to do, So now what I want to do is I want to say that hours sub 0, or index 0, is going to be whatever the scanner gives me for the next int. And then, of course, I'm going to do the same thing. So this will get employee 1 hours. And then I would do the same thing for the second employee and the third employee. So this would be employee 2, and then employee 3. And of course what this would do is I'm going to have to make this look a little bit more appropriate. This is not going to be hours index 0, but index 1, because it's the second employee. This will be index 2, because it's the third employee. And then all I want to do is just display those back, just to make sure that works. So I can do a system.out.println. Sorry, I'm trying to save a little bit of typing here, make this a little bit easier on all of us. So, and this will just say hours, entered R, and then I'll do a system.out.println of employee at index 0, which is the first employee. And then I'll do the employee at index 1, which is the second employee, and then the third employee. So this is second and third employee. Whoops. So I want to call this, employee hours, and now I can run this, and down here it's going to say enter the hours worked by employee 1. Employee 1 worked 28 hours, employee 2 worked 30, and employee 3 worked 33. So 28, 30, 33. Beautiful. That's what we want. So you notice that we are doing the same thing over and over again, sort of. Basically getting hours for an employee, getting hours for the next employee, getting hours for the next employee. So why can't we take this to the next level and put this inside a loop? Because that's kind of what we're doing. Why can't we put this inside a loop? Well, we can. How many times are we going to run this loop? We can say we're going to run this loop for as long as the size of the array is, right? So we can say that we're going to do this for as long as I is less than the number of employees. And I'm going to increment I by 1. And what am I going to do? Really all I'm doing is I'm getting the hours for the next employee. Now notice I'm indenting, make that look a little better. So it's not the first employee, it's going to be employee at hours sub I, whatever index is. And I can make this look a little bit better and say get hours for employee, and I can concatenate my string. Let's make it look a little bit nicer. Now I really don't need all that, because that's going to give me input. So let me go ahead and run this again. Should give me the same employee 0. Oh no, we don't want that. So let's go ahead and stop this, because it makes sense. What it's doing is it's saying, well, index 0. So really what I want the output to look a little bit pretty. I don't want to change the value of index, but I want the output to be not index 0, but it's going to be index 0, but it's going to display employee 1 and employee 2. So it's not going to change the index, but it's going to look a little bit better, because the average user is not going to know what the heck index 0 is. Alright, so employee 1 be 28 hours, I'll do employee 2 is 30, and then employee 3 is 33. So that works good. Well, the output as well. The output as well could be done inside of it. Why not? Why can't we do that? Well, we can. So I can create another for loop. Notice that I can be reused here, because I is inside this loop. So I can reuse I, although you might want to do J, but it really doesn't matter in this case. But so I'm going to do this for as long as I is less than, oops, that's not what I want to do. I is less than the number of employees. So by the way, this is, in this case, num employees is storing the size of this array. Well, another thing we can do is we can erase our data structures. So they have some functionality that goes with them. One thing I can do is I can say, I want you to do this for as long as hours dot length is. And that is sort of kind of the same thing as giving me the size of the array. This will give me back the size of the array. So either way in this case is fine with me. I'm just pointing out to you that sometimes you'll want to use this method because you won't know the size of the array down the road. So we still want to do hours sub I. Go ahead and run this one more time. Now it says enter the hours for employee 1, 28, 30, and 33. So just realize that num employees in this case, this is the same thing. But I'm just pointing out to you that you can use this dot length value for arrays. Arrays come with this functionality in Java where I can say, I want you to do this for whatever the size or the length of the array is. So the length of the array is, in this case, it's 3. But there might become some situation where you don't know what the size of the array is. So that's pretty much it for this challenge. If you want, what you could do, we could create an accumulator. And we could say, well, I'm going to accumulate the total number of hours. This is just kind of an extension. Total hours, all employees. And I'm going to start this at 0. And let's say that what I want to do is I want to accumulate the total hours of all the employees. I could really do it inside this for loop, where I get the hours, or I could do it where I display. Just be aware that if you want to do that, if you want to do it in the first for loop, you would have to do it after you get the hours. So it doesn't really matter to me where you would do that. But let's say what we want to do is I want to accumulate total hours employees. I just want to figure out what are the total number of hours of all my employees together. It's going to be reassign what is in itself plus what is in hours of I. So now what can I do with this? Well, when I get done, see this for loop will retrieve hours for each employee, and this for loop will display as well as accumulate total for all employees. So it's going to basically add all of them together. So I could just do at the end of this, I could just do a system.out.print line to say the total hours for all employees is, and this is one way to do an accumulator. Accumulators are running total, which we've kind of seen with loops before. So now what does this do? So alright, here we go. Hours for employee 1, I'm going to do 28, employee 2 is 30, employee 3, 33, and it gives me the total for all employees is 191. So that's an accumulator for all the employees as well. Alright, so this is pretty much what I'd like you to do for your Java activity, Java programming activity for Module 19 on arrays. So give this a shot. Feel free to go back and review this video as you need. You can pause and look at the code, but the big takeaway is please make sure you try to understand what is going on here. And if you have questions, please feel free to let me know. Go ahead and add that little syntax, that little comment there, explain what that is. So if you have any questions, let me know. Good luck.